Hi, welcome to ACS Composite. My name is Joseph, and today we're exploring grill options on your C7 Corvette. So if you own a C7 Stingray, Grand Sport, or Z06, we have different grill solutions for you. Since 2014, we've been offering our 5.1 grill for the C7 Corvette. That one has different options like camera provisions and LED lights. These are the LED lights. So basically they are parallel to your daytime running lights and really give the car a UFO look. Today we're introducing you also to our 5.7 grill. This is a new design with various improvements. Most importantly is the new mesh design that we've incorporated into it. So what we've done here is taken the C7 Z06 mesh and our 5.1 grill, merged it into a new one. Now you may ask why we're doing this. Basically, we're trying to pick up the benefits of all the different designs. The C7 5.1 grill was actually designed in 2014, even before the Z06 was introduced, and now we brought over all the benefits from it. Most importantly is the compatibility with the front tow hook. The new grill could basically accept our tow hook, which is track rated, easily. So all you have to do is basically thread it on and install it. And finally, if you live in one of those dreadful states where a front license plate is required, this grill will actually work with your GM grill. So this is the infamous GM Aero grill that they call. It basically installs using the two fasteners in the center, and you get the option to do that. And obviously pretty easy to remove. I didn't set the two fasteners, but that's a great option if you're in one of those states. Most of us just prefer to drive without it and appreciate the whole look. Both grills use the same continuous LED side lights, which match that, which are fully controlled through your position 1 on your stock and will automatically go on. So today's video will walk you through the whole install with all the different combinations of cameras and lights and wirings and installations. We'll jump right into the bumper removal on the C7. So in order to change the grill on a C7, the bumper must come off the car. It is snapped into and the bumper is bolted onto the car, and to have access to all those fasteners, the only way to do it is get the bumper off to a workbench so you could do the proper conversion. So the first thing is obviously to get the car off the ground. If you don't have a lift, you could definitely do this on the ground just by setting the car onto ramps or jack stands. So what you need access to is really the fasteners at the bottom. First step is the removal of the 7mm screws in the front, along with the 10 in the rear of the car's under tread. So we'll get started with that. We'll retain all the fasteners. These obviously will go back on. If you have a Z51 car, non-Z51, Z06, auto or not, there's different configuration of deflectors. On my car, I've actually removed them. Those are really done for fuel efficiency. One of them is located right here. It does come off for this install. You could reinstall them once you're done. I'm just outlining it. They're not here, but basically one here and one here. The one for the wheel has common screws, so it would be coming off. A note, the splitter is not coming off the car. So if you have a factory or an ACS installed splitter, the splitter is actually held on with 10 aluminum split rivets. Now, depending on the splitter you have, if it's another aftermarket one, some of them are held on with double-sided tape. That one may fall off, but if it's fastened with split rivets, it stays on. So there's no need to actually remove the splitter off the bumper. It will be part of the bumper assembly when we snap it off. Next step is I'll remove my 10mm bolts in the rear. The tray will fall off, so as I take out the last one, I'll hold it. There could be a lot of dirt behind this one, so I'm basically sliding it inward to get all the dust away from me. And there we go. Now that the under panels are all removed, we could finally see the interaction between the radiator shroud and the grill and the bumper in reality. So everything is actually encapsulated by these 5 7mm screws. Once we remove these, we'll move on to the top to finally be able to disengage the bumper off the car. Next step is to remove the 3 fasteners located in the wheel well. So they're 3 T15 screws, 1, 2, 3. These are holding the liner to the bumper. This one's a Z06, it's got the Fender extensions. So on a Grand Sport Z06, we're holding the Fender extensions, the liner to the bumper. If you have a Stingray, this is not there. This particular car has a ACS XL Fender extension, which is great. I'll be able to remove this portion. You'll be able to see more for the video. If you still have the factory Fender extensions, you could just toss them aside so you can get access inside so that we can unclip the bumper eventually off the car. We're moving on to the front leading edge of the bumper, which is basically located right under the hood. So we've popped the hood. We have a fastener under the trim bezel, a clip, and then a series of T30 bolts that we'll be removing. Step 1 is removing this trim bezel here. So that one is held on with a fastener or a snap feature located right here and like a locating pin. So I go in with a trim tool and basically help it. And now I'm able to slide it out. So this is a snap feature I was referring to, along with the notched pin in the front. And basically applying pressure right here did the trick. We obviously retained these. Next is our push pin or pressure clip here. And if we look, there's a little slot on it. This is where you want to use a trim tool. So it's always great to have plastic nylon tools and relieve it. Once I've relieved it, I could go with a fork, put on the nail portion of it and relieve its pressure. Go on the base, have it removed, retain it. Next, we have our T30 bolts. All fasteners removed. Next is the unsnapping of the front fascia. We're now moving on to the last step of the bumper removal, which is the infamous bumper to fender snaps. These are basically square snaps held on with a bracket, and we need to pull up the fascia upwards. There's tons of videos online about this, and to be honest, there is no easy way. It comes down to your car. Some of these, the fasteners are really tight, making it really hard, and some are really easy. So after doing a ton of these, this is the part that basically everybody hates doing. And all you do is be careful. I mask this area. I always use my towel when I'm working on the fender. I'll be going under and doing my best to pull up. Trim tools are great, so I'll be using these on the side to try to massage it up. And that's really the trick. Try to massage it up and try to help it as it's going up. So tape on the fender and the headlight. And I try to position myself so I'm comfortable and I have the most leverage. And already I'm feeling it popping up. We see it right here, it raised. And there we have it. So we have the 2 snaps held on with a metal bracket. This is what you want. Once you've done this, you're home free. There we have it. Now that the bumper is completely unsnapped, I'll need support. Having 2 people to take the bumper off is really great. I just set it immediately on a table right under the bumper, and I'm able to slide it out and do the rest of the work. I'm unpeeling the wheel liner to basically unplug the side marker. The side marker itself has a gray tab, which has to be pulled towards the center of the car. Once you do that, you apply pressure on that tab, and that comes off. And this is the infamous little locking tab, pretty typical on side markers. Great opportunity to upgrade your side markers if it's something you want to do. This is your chance, they're practically off. All fasteners have been removed. Now the fun part, we're going to be sliding the bumper off. I'm standing it directly on this table. If not, you should have one guy on each side. making sure my snaps are all removed. Sides, top, the other side. I'm going to be lifting and applying it. There's a return flange here. I'm clearing the car. So here we go. Bumper off. We're removing the grill off the bumper. The bumper is held on by two 7mm bolts here, a retainer clip, and a series of snaps along the perimeter. The clips themselves are snapped into a square, so you have to apply pressure to the center of it. Once you do that, it slides right out. There we go. We're now going to relieve all the perimeter tabs on the grill. I'm using a 90-degree trim tool just so I could get a firm pressure on the grill itself. And if I go by the underside, with the pressure, it's actually helping me one by one relieve it. I do the same thing symmetrically at the bottom. And by applying pressure, I'm not letting the snaps go back in. And there we have it, it's off. The lower bumper reinforcement needs a small modification, and this is two mounting holes that will interact with our radiator shroud. So we've drilled two 1/4 inch holes with a 1/2 inch offset. Once done, we're taking our U-clips and installing them with the flat surface towards the rear of the car. This will be used to actually seal the radiator shroud to the opening of the grill to get all that air into the radiator. I sit it to the car, and I could really tell where the center is, which is right at the V point. And I'm sealing it, meaning it's flush on the top edges. And I'll try to keep it, tangent, score the hole, and there we have it. This is my mounting point for this side. And let's see if I'm good with my left hand to drill. A little scary. I'm tangent, and I've scored it. There we have it. Now my reinforcement, I could go ahead and install my U-nuts, keeping the flat side of the panel with the flat flange or the rear of my reinforcement. What's going to happen is when the whole bumper assembly, we could go in the back, put our 7mm screws and fasten it and get a really tight seal between the grill and the radiator shroud. Once this is done, goes back into it. I'm going to put a 1 7mm bolt just so it doesn't fall off or plays tricks on me as we're working. The bumper is ready now to accept the new grill. We're installing on this one the ACS LED version, which has the built-in continuous lights. So obviously we have our plugs. The installation is very similar to the stock one. We have the receptacle for the side tab, which is a metal clip, and obviously all the little subsequent tabs that go into the grill. To install it, you actually have to maneuver, potentially flex it. It's just a matter of lining it up. Try to get as many as you can. I always start at one end and work my way through it. As I clip the few, I now make sure the bottom is also lined up. And once I hear the snap, I know that it's properly secured. And just a matter of working your way around so that every snap gives it a click effect. If there's some resistance, I could use a trim tool and just make sure the tab is applying pressure on the grill. That's going to make sure we get a tight seal between the grill and the bumper itself. Metal clip, the outside towards the center. And mechanically speaking, the grill is installed. So now we're going to go back and work on the wiring on the car itself. The ACS grill does have LED lights and also a very different brake cooling funnel that goes into the Z51 cooling ducts. So what we need to do is make extra provision. There's two modifications that are entailed. One is the radiator shroud, two is the ductwork itself. So I'm using a 3/4 inch tape. If you don't have tape, obviously you can measure. This is my reference, the outer edge, 3/4 inch tape on the flange all the way up. And there's also a small feature at the top. So it's a vertical cut. And I'm using a utility knife to score it. You could use different type of trim tools depending what's available to you. And score and trim all the way down. And there we have it. I'll do the same to the other side. Setting my tape, 3/4 inch from the bottom flange, and scoring it. Depending on your tools, you could even remove the ductwork. I feel I could flex it enough to get it. So my first pass is really just to score it. Perfect. Next is the Z51 ductwork. I'm using this as my baseline. So I've already pre-trimmed this one. I did a horizontal trim and I'm keeping it tangent to that. So I'm removing about 1 inch off the ductwork itself, all the way up around. Once this is done, I can use some sandpaper just to clean up all the surfaces, try to fit the bumper assembly and make sure I got the proper clearance. I'll now trim the driver's side ductwork and I'm using my snips. I trimmed it. I'm giving it a small or a light sanding just to take out any potential burrs. Like I said, you don't really see it once installed. Just want to make sure it looks factory. We're moving on to the fun part, the electrical portion of the install. So obviously we have two LED lights. We have to power them up. And the way that's going to work is we're using the sidemarker wire harness. Our LED lights are low amperage. They really do not consume a lot of power. So for that reason, we're able to tap into this circuit. This one circuit actually powers up the two amber side markers left and right. I'm setting it up on this side. We supply you a harness with a controller. What this is doing is actually controlling the lights themselves through this circuit. And this circuit will automatically go on at night. The car is actually featured with a sensor located on the dash. When it gets dark, lights goes on. Side markers always go on. And at the same time, the LED lights will always go on. So in reality, there's nothing for you to do, but just drive the car and these will always go on and they'll give you a really great look. Now, if in the day or during a show you want to power them up and override all that, you can. All you have to do is basically go to your stock and put on position 1 in the lighting. And that will turn on your side marker, not your headlights. Your daytime running lights will go on along with these LED lights. And that actually gives you a very stealth UFO look. So that's actually my favorite setup. And that's what I usually do in the day. So I actually go to stock 1 and I get the full effect. Now to wire all this up, like I said, we'll be exposing 2 wires inside this harness, just one side, this side here. There's a purple wire and a black wire. Obviously black is ground, purple is power or hot. And we have our controller. The controller itself will be installed on this stud. So every car actually has a stud that's not used. We're going to utilize this. And all we do is we slide it on and we supply you a 10mm nut. Controller fastened. This is the harness powering up the two LED lights. There's a tab on it. Slightly pry on it and just pull out. And there are our pins. So this is going to get installed on our bumper assembly. If ever somebody has to service the bumper, this is what they're going to be removing. This plug right here lets you remove the bumper without having to do any mods or snipping. So it is a permanent retroactive modification we're doing to the car. If ever we plug it back in, always be careful to look at the pins inside, make sure they're all lined up. If they're not, orient them. I do get calls sometimes, people saying it doesn't work. That's all it is. It went in crooked and it's distorting them. And you go back in. So this is gone for now, on the bumper setup later. So our next step now is really to basically get these powered up to our side marker. The side marker harness is wrapped in electrical tape. So I always try to find a weak spot on it. And I'm seeing one right here. Once I have it, instead of going with a utility knife, which I hate, I'm just gonna snip this little piece of tape and try to unwind it so I could properly work and see what I'm doing. And now we have our two wire looms, and these are basically the ground and the power supply. Battery's been disconnected because obviously we're working on the electrical system of the car, but there is no power to the circuit. So rest assured, there's no issue, double insurance. And we're using a T-tap system. Basically, we're not trimming any wires, we'll be tapping into it. So if we look at a T-tap together, if we look inside, we have a circuit and the top of the T actually goes to the left. So we want to make sure that's the common color. The middle or the bottom line actually goes to the right. So I'll be putting the colored one here, which is the purple one of the car side marker, putting the red of my LEDs, and my ground will be here, and obviously it'll be on this side. I'll be using a plier to close this, and that will snap this into position, encapsulating it, and it actually goes and get the current through the rubber gasket around the wire itself. I feel the snap. So now what do we recall? The colored one on top, that means a colored one on the outside. I can actually see through the T-tap as a little reminder. Really important. At the bottom portion, there's actually a hole for the wire to slide into, so you can't really get it wrong. You do want to make sure your wire goes all the way through, because that's where the connection's being made. I don't know if we could see it on the camera, but it's got two rings. The black wire is a little thicker, so it was a little harder to put in, but once I have it in, it's securely snugged. The wire's passing the copper connections, and now I'm ready to snap it into position using my pliers. And there we have it. The electrical connection's been made. We'll be able to actually do a test at this point before we wrap everything up. So what I'll do is I'll plug the harness back on, I'll bring the bumper and just power on the lights just to make sure everything is a-okay and we did this correctly. Now to do my test, I'll be taking my harness. You can't really get this wrong. We have two plugs that connect to the lights and one to the car. So the big one to the car, small one to the bumper itself. And again, always be careful with the terminals inside. If you see them being crooked, it happens. Use a small screwdriver and just center them. You don't want to damage these, otherwise you're hardwiring. Perfect. Now to test it, I'll be connecting the battery and powering on the car so if we can see if these lights are on. Glad to see the lights work. My next step now is to button all this up to seal it. So we'll be putting it back into this harness itself. There is a T-tap now. Perfect. And I'll be sealing it all with electrical tape just like it was. Perfect. So everything is covered up, watertight and sealed. We'll now be able to install our harness onto our bumper and button it all up. Finally test our side marker too, and it will be good for reassembly. Next is fastening our wire harness to the electrical. We are working with a controller located on the driver's side, and that goes here. So step one, plug our wire harness. There's 2 female connectors and 1 male. 1 for each light. Always make sure the pins are vertically straight, properly located. Once you snap, you know you've sealed it correctly. And I'll be running these to the driver's side because that's where my controller is. So I'll be tie wrapping it at the bottom side. As I work my way through it, this one here from the top and working my way back this way. I'm being careful here. I want the light to go on top, under, just so that I don't see it when I look through the opening once we're completed. The tie wraps you could install where you see fit. I always start right at the light source itself, just so I don't have extra strain on the wire. And I could control it too. I'm using the bumper tabs to basically fasten my tie wrap to it, and I'm putting my light harness under the tab itself. My excess wire harness here, I'm just cleaning it up and I could tie it together. I want to keep this as clean as possible. Basically, I want to make sure my next technician that works on the car is not surprised or alarmed by it. So it's pretty obvious. We have LED lights, we have a clean harness, there's 1 connector. This is the access so that when they do pull out the bumper for the first time, they have some room to play with and they're not surprised or tearing something apart. So that's the whole idea behind this. Plus, it's a lot easier to troubleshoot. God forbid something were to happen later on where you need to service these. Anybody could hop in, check each connection and make sure everything's A-OK and obvious. If you have a Corvette with front park assist cameras, you will need to retrofit the original cameras onto our grill. And that's easily done. We'll give you all the hardware to basically transfer it through. Now, if you don't have cameras, there's no point ordering our camera grill. They will not work with your car. The software in your car is actually dedicated for a VIN car with cameras. So you cannot retrofit it into the software. The harness won't be there. So even if you buy it, you're gonna be in a predicament trying to make it work. So if you have cameras, the same cameras are actually recycled and reinstalled into our grill. For this reason, we're actually going to be uninstalling them off the original production grill. Whether you have a Stingray or a Z06, it's the same physical cameras, the shape is different, but the fasteners and the method is all the same. We have here the Z06 takeoff grill off the car. We notice the complete harness and the camera itself. There's a left and a right. I'll be keeping the left and the right. They are interchangeable by experience. I don't like to find out, so basically as I do it, I basically retain them, same orientation, same position, left and right, and so on, but they do have the same part numbers. So something to validate, but why find out today, right? So the first step, we have T20 bolts that basically hold the external bezel to the grill itself. So those come off. So removing the screws lets me unsnap the camera bezel, which I'm tossing. I'm now using a pine cone removal tool to unclip the harness from the grill itself. It's got a safety lock on it that's been disengaged, and then here we have a little clip. Once you press this, you're able to disconnect it. You will be keeping this, because depending on the model years, there's actually different types of connectors. So GM has done a modular design. But this will now let me go through the bezel itself. So next, a small Phillip. Taking out the 2 small Phillip screws at the extreme corner of the camera. And lets me slide right through it. And now I got the camera removed. Perfect. We'll do the same to the other side and basically walk away with 2 cameras. I now have my ACS grill and we're reassembling the camera. Again, always a reminder, the sticker goes up. And my first step is to assemble it to our bezel. So it's a bit of a different setup. We have our bezel, little bracket, all the writing says passenger side. And as I do this, I could see through the holes. I'm using an M4 screw. Perfect. So we have our camera assembly all ready. Next will be to slide this through the hole. Oriented correctly, so again, the little sticker towards the top. You can see a little nipples going through my bezel. Tighten everything up. Reconnect our harness, lock the safety tab, and reconnect it to our grill. So we're back to an OEM setup. And there we go. This will ensure everything works and is oriented. The absolute positioning of the 2 cameras are identical. So once you plug it back into the car, everything will work just like it used to. We've made it to the last part, the final assembly. I have my bumper assembled with our new LED lighted grill. And the most important thing now is do our final test. I have my harness for the lights themselves. I'm reassembling them, making sure my pins are perpendicular and straight. If they're not, I would straighten it with a small screwdriver. Install it, make sure I'm at the right key slots. Snapped on. I have my side markers also to reconnect, so I could do that. Safety tab. Reconnect the battery, do a final test. Side markers are on, LED lights on, and I'm good to go. Electrically, we know we're sound, we've tested it. I have my wire loom from the LED lights. We actually leave, let's say, an extra foot just to service it. I like to tie it, and if ever somebody has to take it apart, there's an access hole from under the car where they could just snip this and get the room they want to dismantle it. Now the reinstallation is a couple things to pay attention to. We did modify the ductwork, so that's obviously something we're going to keep a lookout for. We're going to be riding on top of the radiator rail here to basically snap these in. And these are the infamous clips or mounting tabs that we were dreading at the beginning of the install. We can now see how they work. You have the 2 square tabs on the bumper. You have 2 7mm screws here. And that basically creates the tightness between the bumper itself and the fender. So if ever you wanted to service the car a lot, you would loosen these up, except you don't have access to these. So if I knew I had to take the bumper off tomorrow, I'd probably loosen it off today, but it's a permanent install. We never touch these, we leave them where they are. They are tight, but as we tap on this area here, the little square tabs will engage, and that's what basically gives you that nice seam up here. It's always nice to get some help to put the bumper back on the car. They're all painted units. We still have our protective tape on all the edges. What you do have to look out for first are the tabs going into the headlights. So there's two little tabs inside. They do have to slide in left and right. That's what you want to watch for. Second, you want to get this tab over the fender bracket along with the upper fender bracket here. Once you have all that, you're obviously checking for clearance with the ductwork and also the lower under tray or wheel liner, I should say. That tends to get caught in your lower bumper. So all this, you're sort of keeping track to what's holding you back to try to get it to the right position. Once you're done, then we'll deal with the snapping and the fastening. So I'll get some help and we'll raise the bumper. Keep an eye out for our wire harnesses we've installed, the tabs under the headlights, lift the upper, around, so I'm checking for the clearance of my ductwork and radiator shroud. I am ensuring that my wheel liner is back where it should be, along with the under tray, or again, the bottom portion of the wheel liner. Once I'm happy with that, I can actually snap in my fender. I'm going to lower the car so I could get a complete visual, make sure there's no adjustments needed. But technically we're ready for all the refastening and all the nuts and bolts. We're back under the car and we cannot forget to connect our radiator shroud to our reinforcement that we previously drilled. So I have two 7mm screws. We have the hole, the U-nut, and it is a tight fit depending on the options on your car. This one has the horizontal radiator. So it limits a little bit my access and making the video a little harder for you to see. But basically we are connecting two dots. Perfect, the two are fastened, they're tight, it's sealed. We're gonna move on back to the top of the bumper, put all those fasteners back on, and then button up the bottom. We're moving on to the top leading edge of the bumper. We have our scrivets, which is basically a plastic rivet with a nail. A lot of times these fall apart. If they do, there's only one way they go in. Keep it open, line up your second mounting hole. Next are our T30 bolts. And these go, there's 4 provisions for it. Don't forget your hinge molding plate. Little nail goes in the front, and then this clip snaps into the fender, working around your latch cable. So this is my last opportunity to set my harness. I could actually reach in and get it. I see it. I like to make it very easily so if anybody takes a car apart, they will see it. So what I'm doing now is just tying it to the frame rail or the radiator rail itself. So if anybody services the car, when they take out the wheel liner, they will see the harness at that point, disengage it and get the room they need. They may not even have to disconnect it, but if they need, the harness is there for that. My next step is finally to seal up the bottom with the under tray. There is that screw we installed previously that was holding our reinforcement. So that is off. So the under tray is sitting on top of the bumper and also sliding into that reinforcement, so that all these screws could then sandwich it all together. So you just have to make sure everything is lined up. It could be your U-nuts have moved, so you could use a pick in case, just to verify that the U-nut has moved. This car has actually seen probably several different splitters and several different setups, so we've played with this quite a bit, but the pick will usually do the trick. This completes all the fasteners at the bottom of the car, so 7mm front edge, the 10 in the rear, and that's it. I'm finally reinstalling the front fender extension. I also noticed I too eagerly installed the 7mm screw. So if you do have a Z06 or Grand Sport, the screw should not have been installed. Fender extension, if you have the single piece, you'll be bending it back into position. If you have the ACS one, it's a single part. Three T15 screws hold that in place. And this completes our install. So we're going to put the car back on the ground and take a look at what the final result is. If you made it this far into our video, you're probably liking the 5.1 grill or the new 5.7. So if you have questions or further hesitation, don't be shy to reach out to us. It is a fun install. I know the video was pretty detailed and long, but don't let that scare you. It is a pretty simple bumper removal and on with lots of other details in between. So please do subscribe, stay tuned. Feel free to comment below. If you have any questions, you know how to reach us.